my diesel. Damn. Get off my diesel. Goddamn. Get off my diesel. Damn. Get off my diesel. Damn. Damn. Diesel. Damn. Damn. Diesel. Damn. Damn. Diesel.
Yo, what is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. I'm your host, the conservative libertarian here. And yes, sir, we're back with another one, man. I'm trying to post every day, but I can't get to every day, but I'm trying, okay? But we got another video for you guys. We're going to be reacting to Mr. Zohran Mamdani on The View. I don't watch telly, I don't watch the TV, so I don't know what be going on that motherfucker. I try to watch bits and pieces and clips of on the YouTube sphere and see if there's anything interesting to watch over there. We got a little clips of Zohran Mamdani on The View, which I find to be very interesting, so I want to go ahead and react to what he had to say on here.
Has been a political lightning rod since pulling off a stunning victory in the New York City mayoral primary, winning the Democratic nomination with more votes than any candidate in the city's history. His grassroots campaign and social progressive message is resonating beyond the borders of New York and even has, the White House calling him out. So please welcome New York State Assemblyman and Democratic mayoral candidate, Zohran Mamdani. Hold on now, we got an hour of the show. So y'all gonna have to calm down so we can talk to him.
Okay. Well, you certainly have some fans here, Assemblyman.
It's a pleasure.
Now, a year ago, you were a largely unknown state assemblyman. Now, at 33 years old...
I got hula hoops. I'm older than you.
At 33, you are a rising star in the Democratic Party. You are the front runner to become the next mayor of New York City this November. My question is, did you see this coming, and what do you credit this meteoric rise to?
First I want to say it's such a pleasure to be here, and thank you all for having me.
Sure.
It really is a joy to be here.
Just name dropped you.
When we started this campaign, we thought we had a chance to win. We thought it was a very small chance. It would require everything to go the way that it needed to. And the first decision that we made was to listen to New Yorkers. A lot of times politicians will lecture New Yorkers as to what they should care about. Say, these are the things that you should be asking me about. And we wanted to go out to New Yorkers and ask them, what do you care about in this city? And we heard from them, cost of living, cost of living, cost of living.
Yeah.
Can't afford my rent, can't afford my childcare, can't afford my groceries, can't even afford $2.90 to ride the bus.
Right.
And so we decided to build an entire campaign around making the most expensive city in America affordable, because that's what New Yorkers were telling us.
Well, Assemblyman.
Like I said, his message is very clear. He has a very clear message, and I think that's why also too he gets through to like the regular, secular probably person, somebody who, obviously doesn't believe in capitalism and stuff like that. They believe in socialism, or they believe that, capitalism is the reason why New York is in the position the way they're in right now, which you can agree to disagree on that. I think a lot of it comes down to the politicians that you guys were nominating, and I'm pretty sure historically New York has been a blue ran state. I mean, you only can contribute that to mostly the Democrats who run that state can't sustain living. You can't, even do your daily livelihood without having to work or, hold down a job that's from 12 to 12, you know what I'm saying? His messaging and how he talks to normal people comes off as very understanding. He seems like a very understanding person, and he seems like he cares. And that right there is what is going to help him go further in this elections and into other, maybe other primary elections in the future, because of his messaging and how he's able to talk.
Over the weekend, one of your opponents, embattled Mayor Eric Adams, dropped out of the race. And while Adams didn't name check you, he did appear to make veiled swipes. So let's watch this clip.
That must also sound a warning. Extremism is growing in our politics. Our children are being radicalized to hate our city and our country. Major change is welcome and necessary, but beware of those who claim the answer to destroy the very system we built together over generations That is not change, that is chaos.
So what is your response to that, and why do you think he's decided to drop out now?
You know, there have been rumors that he would drop out for weeks, for months, frankly, even for more than a year. And I can't speak to the decision of why he finally came to that, but I can tell you that in hearing his words, the most extreme thing that I can think of are the policies that he's delivered to the city over 4 years. This is a mayor who raised the rent by 12% on 2 million people, who raised the water bill, highest it's been in 13 years, and supported Con Edison when they wanted to increase gas and
How does
electric.
a mayor raise rent?
So the mayor in a city of 8.5 million people controls a thing called the Rent Guidelines Board. Has 9 appointees, the mayor appoints them all. Every year that board determines whether the rent will rise for about 2.5 million New Yorkers who live in rent-stabilized
Oh,
apartments.
rent stabilized.
And so he's increased the rent 12% over this time. The previous mayor had frozen it 3 times.
Okay, let's talk about President Trump, because he had a lot to say about you.
Dear friend of mine.
Let's quickly tick through all the things that Trump said about you, and let's get that out of the way, all right? Number 1, he's attacking you as a communist. Are you?
No, I'm a democratic socialist. That means I believe in dignity for all people.
It means more than that.
Yeah, I think...
You're not a communist. I agree with that.
No, I'm not a communist. And I think, you know, a lot of New Yorkers have asked me, what does it mean that you're a democratic socialist?
Yeah.
And I tell them to think about the words of Dr. King from decades ago. He said, call it democracy or call it democratic socialism. There has to be a better distribution of wealth for all of God's children in this country. And that's the heart of it.
Like I said, it's going to be interesting on how he delivers his promises while being as a mayor, you know, because the mayor really doesn't have a lot of authority, unlike the governor of the state, which, like I said, we know Kathy Hochul did endorse him as the mayoral candidate for New York City. So, I mean, she's definitely on the same footing as him. So I want to see whether or not she lets him do as much as he wants to do, as, you know, as in reforming New York into the model that he sees New York could be. We're seeing that he wants to do government-owned stores. He wants to do subsidies for rent freezes and stuff like that. So, like I said, I don't see how a lot of this is going to help the middle class, even though, yeah, you can freeze rent and you can add grocery stores into certain areres, but like I said, if there's not enough foot traffic, if you're freezing a rent, are people working? There's all these qualifications that are going on with that, and it's like, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to see.
Okay. So you're like sort of like a Scandinavian type of politician, I would say, right? Okay.
A little more brown, but yes.
Okay. Okay, he's rooting for your opponent, Andrew Cuomo. Why do you think that is?
You know, he is looking to clear the field for Andrew Cuomo because he knows that Andrew Cuomo would clear the field for Trump's agenda. This is speaking about a former governor who, when he looked at the deployment of the National Guard in California, told New Yorkers, don't overreact. This is a moment where we have to address the administration for what it is, which is authoritarian. It's going to require us to do everything in our power to fight back, not to coordinate like Andrew Cuomo has done, being on the phone with Donald Trump, or collaborate like Eric Adams has done by welcoming ICE into the city.
We have asked Andrew Cuomo to come on the show. Let's see if he comes on so he can respond to you.
Good to see you.
Okay. Number 3, he says that he'll withhold, this really is something. Trump says that he will withhold federal funding for New York City if you win. Can he do that, number 1? And my question is that going to stop people from voting for you?
You know, this is just one of the many threats that Donald Trump makes. Every day he wakes up, he makes another threat, a lot of the times about the city that he actually comes from. And what is angering to me is not what Donald Trump does, because we've come to expect that from him, but it's the idea that we have to accept that as the law, the idea that we have to accept that as normal. We have to fight that because we know not only is it an overreach from a federal administration, it's an example of what he's done elsewhere.
Yeah.
You know, in California, he's spoken about withholding federal funding. The attorney general there has estimated that for every dollar they spend in legal fees, they've won more than $30,000 back in funds they would have lost. I'm proud and lucky to say that here in New York we have an incredible attorney general, Tish James, who's been on the front lines of that same fight.
Isn't that tampering, though? Isn't that tampering when you threaten somebody and say, if you vote for this person?
Yeah.
Isn't that
I think so.
voter tampering? It's the thing that he says that everybody does. Now he's doing it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Okay. He also
Familiar with fraud.
Here's my last one. He wants to use cities like New York as military training grounds. Can you stop him?
He wants to do a whole lot of things with this city, and we're going to fight him every step of the way, as long as it is something that comes at the expense of this city. And what I mean by that is that if Donald Trump picks up the phone and he says, you know what, I finally want to deliver on cheaper groceries that I campaigned on, I'll say, absolutely. Let's work together.
Well, when does that happen? When pigs whistle?
That's not happening anytime soon,
Yeah.
because all the things that he calls mayors in this city or former governors about is about his own interests. And we deserve a mayor who will look to the people of the city and see that's who I'm accountable to, not look to the White House and ask for permission.
Like I said, he's good at talking. He's good at talking, and that's another problem with like a lot of politicians. Like you can even say this about JD Vance. JD Vance, he's really good at talking. He's really slick mouth, right? Could be a red flag because people who are really good at talking can be very deceptive. They can be very deceiving. You can't always trust what they say. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not telling you to believe everything JD Vance says either, but I'm just saying that it's kind of like a non-starter because Trump is the president. You fighting him isn't going to solve anything. If you're gonna win off your own fruition, your own ability to win a race. It's not going to be off the fact that you can beat Trump at every turn possible. You need to focus on your mayoral campaign, your constituents, and worry about bringing that city back to life. If he's claiming that he can be able to do that, then I don't see why he can't be the mayor. It's scary because, like I said, I haven't heard of socialism working anywhere else, and we've looked it up in the last video. But I know some places that it does work at. It does work in some areas like the European countries and stuff like that. I'm not even gonna say Europe's in a really good standing either, because Europe is, I mean, they got their own issues going on over there. They literally had to have a whole Supreme Court hearing over what a woman is. Like, if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. I'll catch y'all boys in the next one. Peace.